Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Burrows, because this line has finally been released to everyone. So I hope you've been enjoying grinding through these ships towards this really good tier 10 gunboat. SAP on this thing, absolutely ridiculous DPM, 308k SAP DPM base, with great firing arcs, so the shell velocity is very good here. And this thing absolutely munches through destroyers. So you have a lot of battle impact as well as farming potential. You can get this thing out to like 15 plus kilometers of range if you want to. I prefer to play a little bit more aggressive playstyle. We got to be a little careful. Knowing there's a Schlieffen here makes things a little bit spooky. We also want to learn where the radars are first before playing so aggressive. But the reason I don't enjoy playing this thing as a kiting, spamming, farming destroyer quite so much is these firing angles. They're a little bit awkward having a 50-degree firing angle backwards. You gotta go show so much broadside to actually fire these guns while kiting. I much prefer it when I'm bow on. This ship and this line has this very special new smokescreen ability where you can turn this smokescreen on and off almost whenever you want to. You get a total usage time of 200 seconds and a minimum usage time of 15 seconds. So you can't just spam it on and off, almost like the dolphining that people used to do in submarines. They have thought of that, so we're not quite able to do that, but it's still very powerful, allowing us to push up, get aggressive, and go dark whenever we want to. We find a Yamagiri here, using island cover to isolate this fight, and the damage is so ridiculous. Some of these salvos are absolutely crazy. You can get over 5k alpha damage out of some of these salvos. 4.5 there. And sure, we're going to take some damage in return. We're very broadside here. But you do not want to take a fair fight against a Burrows. And that's why I love this thing so much. I love playing aggressive and then using this smoke like this to go dark if we get spotted while we're actually taking that engagement. And then I can turn this smoke off when I want to as well. I'm not stuck here with like a 2-minute smoke on a gearing that then I've used up. I can't go play aggressive again after using my smoke on the vast majority of destroyers, because I have to wait such a long recharge time, thanks to that smoke laying for such a long time. It's one of the reasons that I enjoy daring so much, so if you enjoy that bursty engagement playstyle of daring, you might enjoy this line. No heal though here, and worse maneuverability, worse detect. 6.5 kilometer detect is fine, but it's not quite that close range in-your-face playstyle of daring. Maybe Laffy actually would be an interesting option for you then. But I see this as a much easier ship to play at the mid and longer ranges than Daring for sure. 10 kilometers here, even able to hit something as small and nimble as a Jaeger. I'm trying to help with my team on that. Obviously, a ship like this one performs at its best as that second line backup DD. That's how I would want to play these destroyers. But you don't always have an opportunity to do that. You're sometimes the only DD on your flank, or maybe the other DD is also one of these second line DDs. Like here, we have that Groningen. So it's important to learn how to use island cover to push up and fight against DDs that are going to outspot you, that maybe have some support. Probing the enemy team, figuring out where they're going. So in this case, Schlieffen, Sejong, Salem, all focused on the C cap here and moving that direction. It gives me a bit of an opportunity here to push the B cap and hopefully take out this Jaeger. We managed to spot him, which is pretty lucky. He should have like an over kilometer window to just run from us, but we'll take it. As well as the perfect gaps opening up on nearly a cross torp from the Schlieffen as well as the Laffy there. Actually, no, Jaeger. We might have to worry about Laffy torps here soon. That's another problem with having to go so broadside when kiting, is you might take some torpedoes, so I'm a little worried about that as well. Having 30-degree firing angles forward means we're much better off pushing. You don't want to get caught in a radar, but this is how I typically like to play Burrows, is at a bit of a pushing angle, and if things get a little bit too intense, I can always pop my smoke and go dark. Slow down, turn in, avoid some fire, prevent a lot of damage just from having a slimmer profile, and then drop the smoke when I can to either get away or just resume farming and doing a ton of damage. It's a risky playstyle if you don't know where the radar is. That's the whole problem. And as soon as we kite, yeah, we only get the single turret. That is so awkward on a ship like this one. Turret traverse is also pretty slow to turn these turrets around to the other side, so we're really lacking the damage here on this Laffy. The rear turret's 360 degrees. Everything about this seems to point to a ship that wants to play bow in, and that is a risky playstyle. So I understand if you're having trouble with it, but it is how I think, at least I enjoy playing these ships. I get the most success out of that. I'm going to try and get greedy here for maybe some damage in on Laria with our main guns as well as our torps. But the torps also don't have the best firing angle backwards. Everything's screaming, just do not be kiting all the time in this thing. Notice what we're broadside onto and what's right next to us. It's really important to look around at your mini-map. We're broadside onto the Laffy torps. And what's right next to us? A big, juicy Tier 9 Musashi battleship. If I'm a Laffy player, I'm trying to torp that guy out, right? That's pretty cool. I would assume that. So it's important to recognize that, drop our smoke, and go somewhere else. Don't get too greedy to sit broadside on and keep farming. Jean Bart now pushing into us. And if someone is pushing into us like this, we always have the opportunity to set up a smoke screen for a relatively long period of time. I love the flexibility here, much more so even than daring. You have burstier potential on these smokes than the daring line, but you also can just set up for a pretty long time in one spot and actually just farm out of it. Yeah, you have way less duration total than something like a gearing would have if you were trying to play this smoked up farming playstyle, but the flexibility allowing me, depending on the situation in the battle, to choose if I want a fast burst of smoke to go dark and then get away, or to set up and farm someone. I absolutely love it. Playing this line is really, really fun. It's a different play style. It's unique. And that's pretty cool to have in, what, 10 years of this game's development. To be adding a new DD line that I don't think is super overpowered. Certainly the farming element, it can do some pretty easy long-range farming, but it's maybe not the best at that. It's HE potential here. We're getting pretty unlucky with those fires. But a unique gimmick like this one that is fun to play and is interesting, importantly, to play. It doesn't just play itself. It's a little bit tricky to get the most value out of these smokes. And I like that a lot. If you know me, I really enjoy the mind games, the thought process that goes into playing this game, and destroyers are really fun for that. And so having a unique smoke to give me more options, as well as incredibly powerful guns. The sap is absolutely ridiculous, this Laffy. Gonna take a lot of damage very, very quickly. We will as well. There's no special saturation here. We don't have any extra armor. We're a rather large target, so we gotta pick our engagements properly. But only 91k here, and yet basically all of our damage outside of a bit into that Jean Bart there was into destroyers. We're cap contesting here. It can do the farming role. I'm sure you've seen that if you've played it. I've done that before in certainly some of my previous videos. But I enjoy this cap contester, closer range. Knife fighting, I guess, is what we call it. Getting in your face. It's really, really fun. What happens if you fight a Burrows in a Burrows? How do you counter this? You gotta angle. That's the key here. Look at the salvos that we're gonna get into each other here. We're gonna be hitting our like 4, 5, 6k alpha. 6k there. You gotta angle. Look at the difference in damage. As soon as I angle to him, his damage drops off. And since he's kiting, he's forced to give me so much broadside that he's taking a ton of damage. And now I smoked, kind of panic smoke, because I thought I was gonna lose that engagement because I was so broadside to start. I thought he would go bow in and he'd just have the advantage there. So I didn't have a lot of support either. But he did not go bow in, so he did a ton of damage. And I realized I need to go finish him off. But in a gearing or other smoke, I wouldn't be able to drop the smoke screen exactly when I would want to. Where with Burrows and this entire line, you have that option. People don't expect it these days. Even someone else playing a Burrows, he didn't necessarily expect me to go in and drop that smoke to go after him again. It's really fun. I really do enjoy it. I think the tier 7 and 8, playing those for the early access period, certainly a little awkward to only have 4 guns, single turrets. Dispersion can feel wonky at times with that. Once you get to the tier 9 and 10, though, they are both really, really fun. And yeah, I did run a little bit of that 15-kilometer build. The flight times are fine, but it feels like I'm not getting the best value out of this ship, trying to play it like a light cruiser at these ranges. It can do it, and honestly, sometimes when people really kite to the back of the map instantly, like some of these guys are doing, happens a lot these days, not just them. It's nice to have that extra range if you want to just farm some damage, but I could be traversing across the map here, going towards the B cap, trying to get into some fights over there, helping my team in those situations, rather than trying to deal with the guys just going to be HE spamming at the back of the map. They're not particularly high-value targets on the enemy team at this point. And the other part of Burrows here is we actually have okay torpedoes. You only get 1 launcher, which is why the DPM is down, but you actually get full Fletcher torps here. So 19k alpha damage puts you pretty high up for tier 10 destroyers, at least on alpha damage. Decent reload here means the DPM isn't cut in half compared to something like a Fletcher or a Gearing for that example. It's 80-second base reload, which is not too bad, and we can try to go for some YOLOs. That alpha damage allowing us to do quite a lot of damage there, as well as, of course, the sap doing absolutely ridiculous damage. But having torps is really nice for when people are pushing you. Maybe you get into an aggressive position and you need to deal with someone pushing you around an island. It's just really handy to have those torpedoes. And we don't quite finish Yamato off quickly enough to avoid a ton of damage. A lot of that actually came from his secondaries. We were broadside onto them. I made the calculated decision, I guess, to angle to Elbing. That AP is terrifying. But then I took a lot of damage to those secondaries. It's a big target. Burrows is a very big target. Kira is also early on playing this ship again. Hadn't played it for a couple of months since that early access period. And I'm popping in and out of my smoke, yeah. Especially with the engine boost up, you gotta worry about reversing out of this smoke or going more than a quarter speed forward. You're gonna pop out of this smoke screen. It won't quite keep up with you in that regard. But it also does slowly crawl along with you, a bit like the Vampire 2, the Commonwealth Destroyer smokes. Things like Haida, which is nice for situations where you're just sort of torping into smokes at each other like this Elbing and I are doing. Moving your smoke screen around helps so much to avoid some of those predictive torpedoes. And while I took an absolute ton of damage, almost threw my entire ship away there in like 2 seconds, I still have a very, very, very long time on this smoke screen, allowing me to farm from relative ease here, especially knowing that the Elbing smoke is going to dissipate far before mine will, at least in this situation. There come those torpedoes that were going for my smoke, but I've moved just a little bit. It's nice to have. While it isn't as good as full gearing smokes if you're doing a ton of this smoke farming, it's again that flexibility that I enjoy so much. So Elbing has actually tried to outflank us here, very smart move, but then he happens to get spotted, I think, by our submarine, and then the damage. Oh, the damage just pours in from this sap. But if we angle, it's going to do quite a bit less, so I'm actually going to shatter and bounce a lot more on this Elbing. And he actually predicted my smoke really well. Those are some very good predictive torps there for the slowly crawling smoke. But I'm going to drop my smoke here for now, as I was speeding up to get out of it anyway, and hopefully finish off this Elbing. Overall, I'm having a really, really good time with Burrows. It's a very interesting, different playstyle. And so I'm going to do something a little bit new. We're going to play one live game. Talked a little bit about the playstyle already in this video, but let's put it into some practice. And of course, we get Ocean, like the rarest, most, I don't know about boring. I actually really like this map. But no island cover means we're not really going to get to play that aggressive around islands. But I've done that plenty. Maybe this is interesting enough to talk about playing around your teammates. Reading the minimap is so important in any ship, but especially in a destroyer. So I really need you to notice what my team is doing right now. Des Moines and Slava leaving the flank already is hard to deal with, okay? So what's likely going to happen is the enemy team's going to have more people here, and they're going to push through. And if my team doesn't push through down here, then we get boxed into a corner of the map. And nothing ever good comes from that. So we're going to have to defend this extremely well. Now, Des Moines is going to have a very, very difficult time, obviously. It's so hard to play Des Moines on a map like this one. But Aslava could have played more north. Our Schlieffen in the middle. Yeah, playing middle means you are just already in a crossfire. That's why we're not going there. And we have a La Pampa. So this is where I'm going to try and play that second line gun support for this guy. We're going to rely on him to do quite a lot of the spotting. We're going to just torp towards the cap. Because the torps come back so quickly, we may as well use them. And we've Shima, Sherman, Cassard. Enemy Des Moines is their radar. Yoshi spawned here, so Des Moines could have been here or here. Could have been on this flank, right? So I know La Pampa has decent detect. We want to be like a kilometer-ish back. We want to be a surprise. Yeah, like this. Like this. Torps distracted Cassard. And it looks like he might actually just go down to La Pampa Torps there. Yep, okay. Good start. Good start. Something else is in here. Interesting. And we're sticking with sap to start with, even into an angled ship like this one, because it just does really good damage. Our DPM is just mostly down to the sap here. So, now that La Pampa is going to be spotting for us, and we're taking some heat. You notice how awkward it is when we're broadside on like this? Oh my goodness. Hello, Shima. We're the gun support, right? Am I speeding up too much to get out of my smoke? Look at the damage, though. Oh my goodness, it's filthy. Give me another smoke buff. I'm going to use one more to go dark, and then we're going to turn it off. Because Shima is torping the smokes, right? So we need to angle to that. And if I get greedy for damage and just sit in my smoke for damage, then I'm going to be broadside onto these torps coming. Yep. There we go. See, we got to use our brain. Sometimes I do these videos and I say these things and then I do exactly the opposite of what I'm saying. So I'm proud of myself for actually doing what I'm telling you guys to do. It's really important. Now notice, look at how many the enemy team has here, right? We don't have a ton of support, and yet we're doing okay. Somehow we have a ton of spotting damage. I think La Pampa should have had that spotting damage, but, you know, I guess we'll take it. Now, Des Moines pushing in. Open water for Des Moines is hard. And we don't want to give up this flank, right, to Shima, but certainly to the battleships that can then crossfire our guys in the south. So torpedoes are going to go towards... Ooh, more torps, and I'm very broadside. Torps are going to go towards these guys. Schlieffen likely turns in, so does GK. So I'm going to torp there, actually. And with Schlieffen and GK secondaries being automated damage, right? We looked at Schlieffen recently. It's pretty strong. I don't want to take a fight with a Shima where he outspots me, and then I instantly start eating a bunch of damage from those secondaries. So it's okay to give ground. We don't want to, like, stubbornly hold ground and then die for it, right? We need to be a little bit cautious. Our La Pampa has also moved on to a different portion of the map. There we go. I was wondering when that was going to happen. And, you know, we're no longer the gun backup support there for them. Schlieffen has turned in. Looks like I was a little too far back on him. GK turned out, so we're going to miss both of those. Oh, and our Des Moines... I'm not a gearing. I can't just smoke you, my friend. If I was a gearing or something with a permanent smoke, yeah, I would have smoked him 100%. That would have been a really good play. But not now. Schlieffen is distracted by that, as is GK, so maybe we can get a little bit cheeky and push up a little more here. Just a little bit. Des Moines is going to die soon, though. So I don't want to overly get aggressive here. So Schlieffen is looking this way. Where's his back guns? Because you can sometimes tell where an enemy ship is going to turn, especially a battleship. They'll start to pre-turn their turrets. It'll tell you where they're going to turn. So if we see his turrets start to move like this turret here, the back one's 360, we can know that he's going to turn all the way out, which he might do here. Get away from Slava. He's already partway through that turn. Now, torps there. Those, I think, are Shimas. I don't think that's Schlieffen angle. So Shima should be up here somewhere. Yeah, he's over here. I'm just staring at my minimap, by the way. If you're wondering, I'm really not paying much attention to where my ship is actually going outside of just on the minimap. Yep, and the secondaries are coming through. That's okay. They're not particularly accurate to start with. And now we can smoke and accelerate to try and get out of the Yodo guns here. Broadside on. We eat a lot of damage. Maybe I should have stopped and reversed. Fortunately, Yodo has very slow shells, so I can actually stop and reverse here and not eat all the damage. And I am reversing in my smoke with... Oh, wow. Blind fire is interesting. with my engine boost, so I nearly left my smoke yet again. Shima is spotted, so we go after that. Now then, it's possible Shima torped us. So let's be a little bit mobile with our smoke. Also, we don't know where Schlieffen is at. He could have turned around, so we don't want to drop it just yet. Yodo is going broadside, so he's going to eat massive damage from the sap here. In caps galore. I think my team probably... I should have turned to Shima. Getting greedy for the damage on Yodo. I'm going to drop the smoke now. And we get going. Okay. We had a good team in this one. They clumped the back here, and they managed to push through. And we stalled out this flank for quite a while. So I think that resulted in a pretty good... Well, I mean, we're winning this game, right? So it did go well, but it's important to recognize where your team is strong and weak and what your ship can do about it. Because some ships are good on a flank. Some ships aren't as much. What are these? Yodo torps that I should have known were coming. Okay. We're a bit of a brick, so we gotta be careful. Now here, I think we're just going to be a spotting bot for now. Combat Scout! Look at us! Combat Scout in a gunboat! I think the Jaeger deserved... not Jaeger, La Pampa deserved so much of the spotting damage early. I have no idea how I got so much. But I guess we'll take it. And Schlieffen is now the one spotting, so let's drop our smoke and try to farm this guy a little bit. You see how 13.1 kilometers of range feels like more than enough, though? This is why... I should be on HE. This is why I'm not as interested in the full range build. I feel like it leads me to play more passive, and I do a lot worse in my battles. So for me, I like this build a lot. We'll look at it at the end, but I like this build a lot. We have a 9% fire chance with this HE, by the way. Maybe his DCP was on or something. Anyways, we can drop our smoke and instantly go after this GK. It's pretty nice, man. It's pretty nice to have this smoke. And then it's back soon, too, if we feel the need to smoke up again. It's such a good ship, man. I really, really like this. It is awkward at times if you're trying to play that kiting playstyle, but man, I really enjoy this. And overleading. His damage control is going, so sap is what we will go with. Secondaries are on us. Makes sense. Wait for him to maybe shoot, and then we smoke? Or we just smoke, because his secondaries are starting to get accurate. Okay, he shot, so now he's spotted. And we should be able to take him out as a team. Nice. All right. And sure, maybe I wasted a smoke, but there we go. Now we can turn it off. It's never a wasted smoke. It's so cool. It is absolutely so cool. All right, let's get this cap. Maybe we can get this cap before this Monty dies, and then do we get an E? Imagine the one live game we play, we get an E. That would be pretty crazy. I like this line a lot. I really do. The high tiers specifically. Tier 7 and 8 are a bit awkward, as mentioned already. But it's worth grinding towards. I think so. If you enjoy gunboat DDs, if you enjoy the bursty smokes, I think you'll enjoy this line. I really do. Laffy as well. It doesn't have nearly the duration on the smokes, but even more close range focused, and it has that healing too. But this line certainly fits the meta quite a lot better. Laffy, you can just feel purely locked out of games, where with Burrows, it's not really my impression so far. There's a lot you can do here. You can play aggressive. You can also just play a more passive farming role, and it can do them both pretty well. Even without range mod here, you know. Could have been farming Monty a little sooner, but we get to him now. And with this, I get to take concealment and Fearless Brawler. So we get a little bit more DPM at closer range too. 38 millimeters of pen on this sap, by the way. He's angled, so we're gonna get a lot of shatters, but Monty deck armor, upper belt armor. We do pen. bit of armor power creeping some armor there. Oh, come on. Can we get 100k? I think so. Oh, we get the kill yet. Nice. I never get out. I like Ocean a lot, guys. Okay, not even close to an E. Wow, okay. I was thinking they counted spotting damage a lot more. But still, a really, really good game. And solid damage overall. It's fun, man. I like DDs a lot. The thought process that goes into them is really interesting to me. It's so much more about how you play it, where you play them, rather than getting lucky with RNG or things like that. Or unlucky with RNG when you're playing a cruiser and the battleship one-shots you while you're angled. It's less of that, which is why I like DDs so much. Here is the build that I've been running. Did try it with range. Just gave up Brawler for range. It's decent. You could even give up Conceal for range if you wanted to go full max long range DPM build. But I like this one a lot. I really do. I prefer to play Burrows and this line this way. Upgrade school eyes looks like this. Probably worth running engine boost mod if you have it. Thanks to it being a 10% engine boost, 2% better than most of the engine boosts for DDs. And just in the game in general, they're often 8%. And with this smoke screen, you can't buff it in very many ways at all. The duration, notice it says usage time. Maybe they do a poor job of communicating these things. It's keywords though. Usage time is different than action time. See, this buffs action time by 10%, and this is usage time. Very minor difference there in wording, but it does result in this flag not giving us any extra duration, which makes sense. It's a long duration, so buffing it by another 10% is a lot of action time, right? Like that would be hard to balance then based on if someone's running this flag or not, or some of these upgrades here. You could somehow get maybe more than a minute of duration on this smoke. It makes sense how they've balanced it and restricted it that way, but I get that it can be confusing. That's why we're not going for some of these consumable upgrades, for example. Decent survivability, but again, we're not anything special when it comes to armor plating here. We don't even get the 21 millimeters of armor that Gearing gets on the side plating here. So big target, takes a lot of damage, got a lot of HP, but takes a lot of damage, especially on broadside. Those firing angles certainly make things a little bit awkward too. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about having a live game here and there. I know you guys can enjoy that as well. Maybe I should do more just straight up live commentary videos that aren't fully cut up or anything like that. Could be good. Let me know. But thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of your day.